Hi there, my name is Scott.
I'm Luke.
You're hanging with the guys.
Yeah, you are.
This is the weekly show where Luke and I will talk about different products, apps, mobile-related things, tech, games, all kinds of stuff.
So much stuff.
And then we'll also talk about things that are not related to that at all.
Yeah, stuff that we've been watching or listening to or reading or...
Just into.
Yeah.
So we're recording this on a Tuesday. This is the kind of like the soft, unofficial launch of CES.
Yeah.
Gets going unofficially tonight with Pepcom.
Mm-hmm.
We are obviously not in attendance this year. COVID.
Yeah.
Luke, do you have any trends or things that you expect to see? I mean, some things are already starting to trickle out, email-wise, announcements. Some things are under embargo. But generally, you know, as we've been to these before, there are usually trends.
Yeah.
You know, one year there were a lot of drones. Suddenly, everybody was into that, or everybody was into like telehealth or something. Do you have any guesses as to what we'll see?
I think we'll probably see more things set up for remote working. So whether it's conferencing, video conferencing technology, or meeting technology, I'm sure we'll see something because of the pandemic. We'll see probably an uptick in like personal health items, sanitizers, sterilizers,
air purifiers,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that'll kind of be piggybacked on more smart home things.
Yeah. We
always see more smart home, more things that are connected, more things that use Assistant or Alexa or whatever. I'm sure we'll see more of that.
Yeah.
Man, it could be so many things.
Right.
I think probably AI learning and a lot more. That's such a buzzword phrase. I feel
it is. You can bring it up every year where it feels like it's new again.
Right.
Because AI has a different meaning this year than it did a year ago.
Right. But I think more of just like we've seen, we talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago, the Wombo art. I think we'll see more kind of AI generated things.
Things that can, like
kind of, machines speaking on their own,
right?
Having their own voice. And I think we'll probably see more kind of smart automation. Kind of you set it and forget it and it'll learn, and kind of like we saw with the Nest, your thermostat,
right?
You set it and it learns you after. I mean, that's machine learning. So
and that's there was a point where it felt like 1 year at CES, it was just like all of a sudden everything had Google Assistant. I mean, they even had their own booth set up for that the one time, and everything, it's like throwing Alexa in this, like now it's in a clock, now it's in a mirror, and it's like, man, they're putting it everywhere. But I think we'll continue to see evolutions of that. And other ways of just kind of adding smart things in ways that were like, I didn't think about that. But that is smart to do that.
You said mirrors. I'm sure we'll see an uptick in smart surfaces. What about you?
I'm probably right in line with pretty much everything you said. The only thing that I can think of, and it kind of ties into some of that, is even like automation of like, or helping people. Like we've talked about, like smart gardens and growing things in the house. I got my wife a Click and Grow, and I know that, excuse me, that in the past there are other companies, and there are more coming out now, of that type of, you can grow these herbs or flowers or lettuce in your house without having to have like a true like green thumb. They're almost like, this one is almost like a K-cup
Yeah.
that you put in, and as long as it has enough water, it does the rest for you.
It's almost dummy proof. Like
it's weird.
You can't mess it up.
I think we'll see a lot more of that kind of stuff of just like, hey, we can improve your life, make things cooler and smarter in ways that you don't, have to think about.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's interesting. CES is always, it's a completely different animal from what it was the first time or two when I went, because it used to be every major announcement was there.
Yeah.
All the carriers were ready and all the phone makers were, trotting out new devices. Mm-hmm. And now you have Samsung who will selectively do one or two things around those events.
Right.
But Motorola just kind of moves at its own pace. LG, when they were still in the business, was just doing their own thing.
Right.
OnePlus, and now the global brands that are starting to creep into the US, they may, but I think that might be more of a Mobile World Congress kind of play.
Yep. Or a lot of them are doing their own thing.
Yeah, like CES is more,
especially with COVID. A lot of people are deciding.
They're
either not coming, right?
Yep.
They're saying, "Hey, we're out. We're gonna, not risk any health to anybody involved," or they're saying we're gonna do our own thing because of that.
Yeah. I think it. I wanted to say last year was just like that sit it out year.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything changed so quickly in the last few weeks to see companies that are pulling out saying, "Oh, we're not going to attend."
Yeah.
I get that. I mean, even myself, I came down with COVID since we last recorded, and it was in my house, my wife, my son, and it really kind of changed like the perspective of like, even Mobile World Congress is in another 6-8 weeks. Would I consider going to that? I don't know.
Right.
At this point, if I had to commit and give an answer today, I'm not. So I don't know what that looks like for CES as a vendor.
Right.
Like, how, are you on the hook for this money? Are you just going to eat it and not go?
Yeah. Is there any provision in place, or are they saying, "Well, sorry, we're still having the event, so if you pull out,
you still out. Yeah, you have to pay one way or the other."
Right.
I didn't expect that.
Right. It'll be interesting to
ago.
see the, photos and videos from people in the industry that we know are there, of what the traffic looks like or what booths look like. I know we'll have, a couple huge, big spectacle booths. We see a lot of that stuff automotive wise. I don't know what we'll see there.
Or to go somebody like Samsung who touches everything. And you have appliances and TVs and computers and refrigerators and all of these things in this huge section. How packed that is. It isn't like you're a niche product that people kind of find their way over, but it's like, what does the LG presence look like? What does Sony's presence look like?
Sectioned off booths with only X amount of people in at a time.
Yeah.
To experience it, or it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing that it's happening as long as it's safe, right? But yeah, I'm excited to see the chatter that comes out and the announcements and some of the stuff like you said, we've seen already, and some of the stuff we can't talk about that we've seen.
Right.
But
we will actually talk about in another episode later this week.
Yeah.
As we kind of compile and curate some of the things that we find to be the most exciting or the most interesting things that, and we'll qualify them as best of CES for as much as we can as, attending it virtually, remotely. We know enough about things to compare one thing to another, or to know a brand and their track record and to say, I'm really excited about this based off of their history. So we will have that probably another day or two. So if you're watching or listening, look for that. Probably, I'd say Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
We'll have that ready. This is a little bit of a different restructure. I mean, it's a new year. We we punted a little bit intentionally towards the end of the year where it was like, we don't expect people to be listening. A lot of places, we debated even doing what other places do, is rerunning some of the content from earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Versus just, I don't expect anybody to listen to a podcast, between Christmas and New Year's, and then just getting COVID kind of changed things personally. Like,
sure.
Man, I don't even want to think about a podcast right now. So,
right.
But we are going to try some new things for 2022, which is weird to say that.
I know, dude.
It's weird. No, well, what we were doing is almost like a daily ask commitment of a review. We would do an app or a game or a product or something that we would review. And if you're listening to the podcast and that's how you consume it, that's going to change a little bit, at least in the short term, as we explore some other options. We will continue to have those as part of what we do, but we're going to fold it into the larger, weekly or formatted structure of a show. So bear with us.
Right.
We know there's not a ton of people out there, and I hate to shake things up for people who are like, oh man, I just started liking what you did, or I just found you, and so if we alienate you, that's not intentional.
And if you are one of those people, if you liked the idea of a short little app review, 5-7 minute thing, let us know.
Yeah, like it's going to be included in this episode. Is it worth us pulling it out to offer it individually still?
Yeah.
Or would it just be better served to ask for a once a week show?
Yeah, we're trying a bunch of different angles and kind of seeing which one looks the best.
Yeah.
So.
And this is the first one that we're actually doing.
Yeah.
On video that we're going to put out as pretty much as it is.
Yeah.
And just say, here, have it. I'm not going to polish it up. We may add some things in post to these episodes in terms of things that we've reviewed. If we've unboxed it or taken pictures and we're ready to share those things, those will obviously be added to this. But other than that, it's just you're hanging.
You're hanging with us.
So let's get into the segment.
Yeah.
Early impressions, hot takes, any takebacks on anything that you've reviewed, or second opinions, an app that you might have reviewed that I've also reviewed. We've done that a number of times.
Yeah.
I have a couple of things to talk about.
Okay.
One is kind of a takeback.
Okay.
I liked a game that I had reviewed a few weeks back called Space Merge. And I found it fun, and I found it decent. I don't think I gave it an editor's choice or anything.
Right.
But I don't love it. It died on the vine pretty quickly.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's the kind of game that I found myself, especially as I was just not feeling well. Like, I don't like this game from the sense of I'm opening it and want to do a couple of minutes with it or challenge myself. I'm opening it and completing a task or two and then kind of putting it away. And I'm okay if I don't return to it that day.
Right.
It became more of a chasing.
I'm playing it because I feel like I have to because I started it.
Yeah. I'm at, playing it 53 and 54 now is kind of where I'm at. Do I want to see this all the way to 80?
Right.
Or whatever it is that they actually have.
Right.
That's not to say that it's not a fun game, but it's the kind of game that I would qualify it with a little bit more of. It's easy to kind of feel like you hit a wall in terms of merging the planets and using your coins that you've created, and just kind of the mechanics almost wore themselves out quickly.
Sure.
So I don't want to rescore it or anything, but I do want to say I don't think I like it quite as much as I did.
Gotcha.
So that was Space Merge.
Okay.
And then just a couple of other things for me. We just recently unboxed the Gourmia Foodstation.
Yeah.
Do you have a food? You have an air fryer at home?
We do.
What do you think of that?
I love it.
It's a game changer.
It really is, man. Like, I love pizza rolls.
Yes.
You can't do them in the microwave. I was always a staunch, you got to do them in the oven. But the air fryer is my preferred method of pizza roll now.
It has become, my son is, it's been interesting to watch him because he's, when he's 14 playing Fortnite and between levels, he is, he would run downstairs, dump some pizza rolls in the air fryer, slap that thing in there and go back to playing.
Sure.
And then the next time, he gets killed or whatever, he comes down and pulls them out and takes the plate up to his room. And, he used to do that with, he still does with things like, corn dogs.
Yeah.
He'll slide the stick out and throw 3 corn dogs in there. And instead of waiting 90 seconds at the microwave like he used to, it's air fryer, and it's just a different kind of cook.
Sure.
So yeah, if you don't have an air fryer, you should definitely consider one.
Yeah.
It's probably our most used kitchen thing, maybe even more than like a toaster oven. But anyways, to say that, the Gourmia Foodstation I'm excited to spend some time with because it's an air fryer and a grill.
Yeah.
And it gets up to over 500 degrees.
Yeah.
So you can cook steaks.
I'm interested to see how that works too, because it's starting to get colder here in Ohio.
Teens.
And, grilling is one of the best things, but in the winter, grilling is not great.
No. Especially if you got to go out and flip things
right
a couple of times. There's something about the first time or two in the summer of grilling chicken or something, and you're just like, oh man, I really missed this.
Yeah, it kind of signifies the change of the seasons a little bit, because you're like, oh, it's nice enough that I can be out here and it's not like
I can leave
miserable.
the screen door open and just smell the food cooking coming in. And yeah, so the food station is a 5-in-1. It's a air fryer and a grill, and it'll bake, of course, and then it's also a dehydrator. So
make some jerky.
You ever mess with dehydrator?
No,
I had a food dehydrator that I bought when I first moved out on my own.
Yeah,
and it was like stacks of these like trays, and I would cut up like, this whole tray would be strawberry slices. And then the next tray would be like a different fruit or something. And then I would let that thing run all night long. And then the next day I would have shriveled up, dehydrated. And it was nice, but it was just like, it took up so much space for such a specialty thing.
Right.
And it was just, I didn't like the commitment of giving up all that counter space for that.
Right.
So I'm curious with this 5-in-1 to do all these things. It's a different like design. It's almost like a suitcase with the glass lid. I will be curious as to how much smoke it creates.
Right, that's the thing. If you're gonna grill or broil something, what is that venting like? It doesn't. It's not loud. We tested it out. We turned it on. It's not loud, but
it says it's near smoke free.
What does that mean, though?
Yeah, like. I don't.
We'll find out. To baby it, does that mean if it's near smoke free as long as you don't have any drippings on the
on the pan? Yeah,
or the.
So element. I'm curious to do that aspect. The air fryer is air fryer.
Yeah,
375, 15 minutes. Fine. That's gonna be whatever. So I'm anxious to do that, to put something on there that I can sizzle on the grill and get the grill marks and see if that. I mean, it's not gas.
No.
And it's not charcoal. Right. I mean, it's an electric grill.
Right. It gets up to 510.
Yeah.
But it's also just like a 120 watt plug. It's not a higher wattage electric. I'm interested to see how it actually works.
Gourmia, I've done an air fryer or two from them, and I think at one point we even did this one that was like, it had a rotisserie thing that you could put on, so it would roll. Their stuff is awesome.
Yeah, it's quality stuff.
This is one that you can get, I believe, at Target now.
Yeah,
and it's like, is it $150?
It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
for all it does,
you're looking at like at least $100 if you want a nice.
Not huge,
right?
But it's big enough. I think the pans and the grill top is like 18 inches long by like 12
Yeah, it's
inches
like
wide or something like that.
It looks like it'll do like a normal casserole sized,
Yeah.
like a lasagna tray
Mm-hmm.
worth of food, or I think it's 6 quarts
Yeah.
of. I would imagine 4 burgers.
Yeah.
No problem, or
Yeah.
a couple of larger steaks,
Mm-hmm.
to put on that. Yeah, so I might have some feedback for you soon.
I'm excited to hear it and maybe taste it.
Yeah. So that the only other thing, and I more further along, is I've actually spent some time with the Padmate or the Pamu Z1 Pro earbuds.
Oh yeah.
We did an unboxing
Uh-huh.
a week or so back. These are available in 3 colors: black, white, and then there's like a green with like a yellow accent.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
They're nice earbuds. It's hard for me to review earbuds sometimes because I always want to hold on to that. Like, oh, I love these.
Right.
I'm going to use these now.
Right.
These are my favorite. And there are, when you get into $100, $150, you're getting into some nicer grade of things.
Yeah.
And this is not the first Padmate brand or Pamu line that we've reviewed in here, but they're nice. They're pretty cool. 6-hour battery life per charge,
nice.
Which is, more than most people are going to listen to in a day or two.
Absolutely.
And then you can charge them up with the case wirelessly, which is also nice. Either USB-C or just put it on the wireless platter and charge that up. So those are cool. I think I'll probably have a full review on those in the next, maybe the next episode.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you? Anything?
No, I have some stuff for the next section of an actual review.
More formal, ready to score. Okay, let's do it. So this is the reviews segment where we will kind of talk about a specific product, a little bit tighter discussion, and score that.
Yep.
And if it's an app, we have about 5 categories, app or game. And if it's a product, we have up to 8 things. What do you got today?
I have two games that I've been playing.
Okay.
The first game is a game called Sliding Seas. It's by Mugshot Games, and what this is a kind of a spatial puzzle. Kind of, I'm sure we've all seen the advertisements of games where you put 3 things together and it merges into something else. This is the same idea, but it is a grid system, and the art style is very cartoonish. It's very like thick outlines and very simplistic details. It's very cartoony and cute. But the idea is you are rescuing people out at sea. So you'll have a little person come in like a little inner tube, and then you have to join sections of water that are light colored to make the next section and the next section, and eventually it makes a piece of land.
Okay.
And if you do like a 4 or a 5 in a row, maybe it'll become the next piece of water with a raft on it. Or if you do at a certain level, if you're on the 3rd level of water and do a 4 of a kind, it might just turn into a land. Or if you do 4 lands, it'll turn into a next section of land with a shelter. And the idea is you're trying to get the people in the inner tubes from water into a shelter.
Okay.
By matching tiles that they're on into making a shelter. And that's pretty much the gameplay. There's 2 other modes. One where you're trying to stop pirate ships from going from the bottom of the screen up to the top, and the pirate ships will, it's trying to attack people in a boat. And so you have to, if you connect a sequence of tiles next to the boat, it damages the boat. If you do like 4 or 5 in a row, it creates a mine, and when the boat goes over the like a little floating mine in the water, it blows up and does more damage to it. And then there's another mode where there's treasure chests We're trying to break the treasure chests and get items. And all of that, the people you rescue and the items you collect are brought to your island. You have your own home island that all your people go to. And as you rescue people, it grows, and you can change the decorations. You can change the style of trees or flowers and change the colors. You can open things like a hospital or more houses or a basketball court or a pizza place. And it has all these different kind of things to customize your island.
Does it do anything in terms of gameplay?
Not at all.
So it's kind of
Just
like a cosmetic.
It's just kind of a little tiny mini game tacked onto the main tile matching game.
So once you rescue your people, this is kind of like
it's like the
dress up where they're rescued.
Yeah, it's the floating kind of scene until the next puzzle is your people go to this island. You can spruce up your island how you want to. As you get more people, you unlock more. Your island grows. You unlock newer things. There are VIPs that you can rescue that are in the water that go to certain, like you can rescue a pizza guy or a pizza girl, and she goes with the pizza place if you have a pizza place open.
Okay.
And you can collect. There's kind of a collection mechanic where you can collect different VIPs and kind of a collect them all style thing. But from what I've seen, I'm to like level 60 or something like that. There is no gameplay change based on what places you open or what VIPs you have. They don't give you any extra in-game bonuses.
Okay.
Now, when you rescue a VIP, you get a reward for getting them. And rewards, there's a couple power-ups that you can use in-game. There's a piece of dynamite that'll blow up a block, and everything drops down, so it's like a gravity puzzle. So if you blow up a block, all the next ones will drop down and take the spot. There is a tornado where you can reshuffle all the tiles. There is a magnet where you can put it down and kind of attract everything in a 9-block area to a certain center block. Or there is some rockets where you can do, it's like a 4x4 grid, and it'll blow up anything that can be blown up. So if it's water, it won't do anything to water, but like a treasure chest or a pirate ship or something like that, it'll break.
Okay.
So it has a lot of things to do for a relatively simple idea of a game.
Did you get to the 60 quickly, or was it just like repeated?
I've been playing it for about a week.
Okay.
And it's easy enough. The games are quick enough, and it's not a real heavy thinker that I was able to play them pretty quick. I would say, I don't know, maybe I think total I've maybe spent 4 hours in the game.
Okay.
So, it's not very hard, but it's one of those games that's an easy. There's no timer on the puzzles. You have amount of moves that you can use.
Okay.
And if you don't get them, if you don't rescue all the people in a certain amount of moves, you have to retry, or you can use these things they have diamonds as a currency. You can spend diamonds to keep going to get like 5 extra moves.
Okay.
And they have an in-app store where you can purchase those diamonds, or you can purchase the power-ups like the rockets or the tornado or whatever like that. So there are some in-app purchases. But it's one of those games where you can just jump in as you want, and in the middle of a level, you can close it. If you get a phone call or if you have a text message, you don't have to. It's not like if you close the game, unless you hard close your game, you're not going to lose your progress.
Okay.
So that's what I like. I like it's not a game. Some games that I play, I feel like if I sit down and open it, I know I'm going to be 5 minutes in it for sure, or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. This one, I can open it, play a level while I'm, waiting in line somewhere, and then be out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's sliding seas. I gave it a 3.8 overall.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's got a lot to it. A lot more than just the simple, match 3 sliding kind of game.
Yeah.
But not so much that you feel like you always have. There's not like upkeep, like you were saying, like with the
Space merge
game where you had daily upkeep to keep up with. It's none of that. So
okay.
So that was Sliding Seas, and that's free in the Play Store.
Okay.
A 3.8.
So, and then, I mean, you get to a 4 and above is what we would qualify as an editor's choice.
Yep.
So pretty high.
Yeah.
3.8 is well above average.
Yep. And it's a really good game. If you like those really simple, not a lot of buy-in kind of match 3 game, this one is going to be really good for you.
Right on. What else you got?
The next game I have is another tower defense game. So if you've been listening to us at all, if you're new to us, thank you for stopping by. But we love tower defense games. I found another one.
Yeah.
This one's called Rush Royale Tower Defense TD.
Tower defense.
I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It's by a developer called my.com BV.
Okay.
I don't know. It just, there's a lot of dots and letters and.
So, is it out of the Netherlands or something?
I have no idea.
BV. Okay.
This one's also free. This one is very, very similar to the Dice Clash kind of game, or the PvP dice game that we played, where
the Cubic Clash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where you have a person, you have a certain type of I guess they're adventurers, because this is more fantasy themed.
Okay.
So there's like a wizard, and there's an electric wizard, and an ice wizard, and a fire wizard, and then you have a kind of like a islander that shoots poison darts out of a blowgun, and then you have like a kind of a gear like robot that is. So you have these different characters that you put down as your tower defense, but as you merge 2 that are the same, they turn into another one, another different style.
Defense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have 5 types that you bring as your deck. I guess.
Okay.
You bring these 5 into your tower defense deck, and you're playing PvP against somebody else. And when you join 2 like styles and like levels, because you can level them up 1 through 5 or whatever, they will change into either the next level up of the same thing or the next level up of something else.
Okay.
So you're not, it's kind of a randomness where you're not guaranteed just because they have 2 fire guys, it's not going to be a level 2 fire guy.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a level 2 ice. So that's a little bit of like planning of
what 5 would I like to have generally as a team.
Right.
Okay.
And some of them, like the gear one, is very similar to how the gears work in the Cubic Clash, where the more you have connected together, the faster they attack. Mm-hmm. There's a archer that is just a rapid attack, just shoots arrows very fast. There is like a banner you can put down that anything around the banner is boosted without having to match it.
Okay.
So there's all these different styles of tower defense character that you can put in your tower, and you have these monsters that go around, and as you kill the monster, just like in the other games, it goes over to your opponent's side. Right? The whole point is to try and overwhelm their side so that they lose their lives and you win.
Okay.
After so many monsters go by, there's a boss that spawns. And based on how many monsters you have on your side is how strong the boss is on your side. And then, bosses have different abilities, whether they move around the order of your tower defense grid, or they lower the level of some of your characters, or they kill some of your characters, all kinds of different things. But yeah, this one is very similar to Cubic Clash, and it has it's a free game, but there are in-app purchases. It has a season pass, where as you level up and as you do battles, you'll gain progress in the season pass, and you can do you get a free reward, and then if you want to buy the season pass, you'll get an extra reward. There are quests you can do, and daily quests. The one thing that's different than the Cubic Clash game is once you level up your character, they get certain talents. So once you hit like level 9 in a card, it then all of a sudden has an extra ability to it.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of a cool thing, is as you level up and play these cards, you'll start getting synergies from their talents also, not just their attack type.
Sure.
The other thing that this has is you have your player character that in the game running the tower defense has an ability. So your starting ability is like a target dummy. It drops a target dummy in the path of all the monsters, and until they break through that, they don't go any farther. And so you can get other abilities that let you do other things.
Okay.
I haven't gotten that far to get any other ones, but that's how it's kind of explained, is you have a player ability also.
Got you.
But overall, this game, it has there's a PvP mode, and then there is a team mode also, and then you can also join a clan. And so they're like clan fights that you can do. So there's a lot to do in the game, and there's a lot of depth in kind of the construction of decks. I don't know how many different kinds of characters there are. That has a list of the ones you can unlock, but I haven't counted it. It looks like it's probably over 30.
Okay.
So there's a good amount of
lot
characters.
of combinations.
Yep, a lot of combinations you can do. This one, I gave it a 4. So it hits our editor's choice. It's a 4 across the board for me. Yeah. It's really good. Like it's a very fun game. The graphics are really good. The sound, the audio is really good. And it's not hitting you over the head with ads. You can there are in-store purchases, but you're not forced to watch an ad. You can get extra rewards at the end of battles if you watch an ad. Okay. And then there's a daily ad you can watch. And after like 10 of those ads, you'll get a reward chest. Okay. So you can choose to watch the ads if you want.
But you're not forced.
You're not forced to.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, like I said before, I'm a sucker for a tower defense game. Yep. And this one, with the graphics and the playability and the depth, it's kind of right up my alley. Nice. So I'm interested to see maybe how long this stays on my phone.
Does it have a high replay value because of other features? Right. Because as you're describing it, I'm thinking of the other games that I've played similar, but then it just kind of stays, it doesn't do all these other things. Right. Okay. Nice. And what was the name of that one again?
This one is Rush Royale.
Rush Royale. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but as far as reviews, those are what I have. Do you have anything to talk about?
No, I think that it comes down to it being the end of the year, right, and being sick, and just kind of it's a quiet before CES. Yeah. So it's just like a combination of things. I'm like, I don't have anything brand new, right, at this point, right. But I think a week from now could be a completely different discussion. Sure. Want to do the last segment then?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is basically other topics. These are just the other things that we've been doing, things we've watched, things that we've consumed, or that we've just been generally interested in. Since the last episode, we both went to see Matrix.
Yes,
Resurrections. How do you feel about that?
So coming out of the theater, I liked it a lot. I was like, yeah, man, it felt like the Matrix. It was fun to be kind of back in that world. I think without seeing maybe the trend of the last couple years of kind of the retelling of the story we've already heard, I would have maybe not liked it as much, but I wasn't as surprised by it. So this one, without spoilers, really, there's a lot of similarities in this story from what we've seen from the Matrix already. Yeah. And I wasn't as surprised by that as I probably would have been, without having seen things like, Star Wars or whatever. but I liked it. I enjoyed it. Now, a couple weeks removed from it, not as good as I initially thought. I find myself not thinking about it.
Yeah.
I find myself not really looking to watch it again, even though it's readily available for me to watch anytime I want on my TV.
Yep.
Through HBO. I don't really care to watch it again.
Yeah.
And that's weird because it's The Matrix. I mean, when we talked about it coming out, when I went and saw the original Matrix in the theater, me and my buddy watched it, were blown away, walked out of the theater, bought a ticket, and walked right back in and watched it a second time.
Yeah.
And I was fully expecting to go to this movie, see it, and be like, yeah, man, I want more Matrix. I'm going to go home. I'm going to watch it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I can. I just don't have an interest in it.
Yeah. I am very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I came out of it leaning more in the direction of I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I definitely need to see it again because there are so many different layers at play.
Yeah.
What is the movie trying to tell me?
Right.
Is there something like very meta about the way the movie was made that it's saying this is this current state of Hollywood?
Right.
Like there's a lot of different layers to that onion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with you. I haven't watched it since.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that today because I don't have that. Like, what is it? Why haven't I gone back to it?
Yeah.
20 years ago when The Matrix came out, I couldn't wait to spend money to go see it again.
Yep.
And then when it came out on DVD, I couldn't wait to watch some of my favorite scenes, the choreographed fights.
Yeah. I want to see that lobby scene again.
Yeah, like I can jump directly to that chapter. Like that was one of the best selling points of DVD for me was the ability to kind of like selectively watch my favorite scenes from that film.
Right.
I can't think of what would be my favorite scene.
Sure.
From this film.
Yeah. Nothing
really stood out. There are some things that were kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But nothing. It was so revolutionary the first time around. That I think I expected it to have some degree of revolution here.
Well, I think we even talked about it when we were watching. Is what's the bullet time moment?
Right. Like that. Just you watch a movie. Like my son has not seen any Matrix films. Mm-hmm. He's 18.
Right.
For him to sit down and watch that, he's going to see, the first scene of Trinity jumping up and that spin around the room. It's not going to do anything to him because we've seen that so much now. Everything is derivative of that. Mm-hmm. There was nothing in this one. There was some interesting things that they did with like movement of certain characters.
Oh, sure.
And slow motion.
There's
and
some
things.
There's some great like time remapping and good CGI. There's some really good CGI.
I don't know that it's going to be emulated, mimicked, used over and over. It may be. Mm-hmm. But I don't see anything here where I'm like, man, this is something special,
right?
And I don't know if even like the fights in the original movies, I felt like even just like a hand-to-hand fight was like a story without the words. Mm-hmm. When he's in the dojo training him, and he's trying to teach him, dude, we're in the Matrix. You don't have to abide by any rules in here. Mm-hmm. You can create, and I don't feel like there was anything like that in this, but I'm not soured on the film in a way that it was like, don't go see this.
Right.
I don't know. Like my wife didn't go see it with me. She hasn't asked to watch it at home and I haven't brought it up to watch it.
Sure.
It's kind of like, hey, do you want to watch? Like, I don't just, I can see why people are critical of certain things and even watching movie reviews and things. And I can also feel like I want to defend. Mm-hmm. There's certain things I'm like, oh, it's a property that I like.
Yeah.
So I'm I want to defend it. I want, and it's like, I don't know, we're back in that world. There's something about it, something special. It's kind of like, Is it just me bringing that to this, or
Right,
is it
yeah.
legitimately special?
And because I love this world, am I making excuses for it?
Yeah. Am I defending it because it did something to me 20 years ago?
Right.
And now I have to kind of give it the benefit of,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think for everything I didn't like about it, or every misstep it had, I was still in the Matrix.
Yeah.
You know, I was still in that world, and I liked being taken back to the Matrix.
Yeah.
I don't maybe love, you know, everything that happened in it, or how, or, you know,
Even understand what they were doing.
Right.
Some of it.
but I was still there.
Yeah.
And so that was fun.
And I was engaged
Mhm.
and interested, and I was ready to believe whatever turn they took.
Right. But, you know, you mentioned how the meta of what they were trying to say, or the, you know, commentary of the state of Hollywood, or whatever
Mhm.
they were trying to say. Some of those things, it almost felt like it was being too smart, and it pulled me out of the story. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
I was in a story, and then all of a sudden it was this, and I went, oh wait, is that real world? Oh, what? Oh, how is that real world? Is that really how it happened? Is that, oh, that kind of, oh wait, let me get back to the story.
Yeah.
Like it just, there were parts that pulled me out of the story, and I think that's um I think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know,
It made you aware that you were wondering how the sausage was made in this film.
Right.
How I'm actively watching it, and instead of getting drawn into the conversation, I'm still trying to play back what just happened.
Yeah.
And figure out, what does that mean in the scope of things?
Yeah.
Is the story part of the story? Is it I'm actively thinking about this movie being made,
Right.
instead of enjoying what's going on in the movie.
Right.
And then there's some things early on that kind of like, without spoiling anything, but like just like discussions about like video games and things, I'm like, oh no, hold on, I got to draw this out and kind of figure out what's going on.
Right.
And then I can figure out if I love it.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's what it is I didn't go back and draw it out.
Right.
And I don't know that if I can love it yet.
Right.
I mean, it's subject to change. I feel like I could go one way or the other with that.
So if you would give it a number, then what would you give Matrix Resurrections?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
6 or 7 right now. Like, I'm just like way better than average.
Yeah.
But not way better than average.
Yeah. I think I would probably give it a 7.
Yeah.
And I think the 7 is not a 6 because of the original Matrix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want more?
I would watch more.
Yeah.
I don't think I want more.
I don't think I need more, but I would definitely line up for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I can't wait to see more, but if you make more, I'm there.
Yeah. I feel like I could watch a documentary on the making of this movie and be just as satisfied with some of the story they were trying to tell.
Yeah, I almost want to hear tell me about the story. Tell me about the idea for the story.
Did this movie exist
before this movie existed?
Before you were approached to make this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
I don't know if they ever will. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We might in 20 more years.
Yeah. Anything else you watch? Oh,
Go ahead.
Well, since we last recorded, we watched the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes, we did.
And we were both really excited about this.
Yes.
Just to go back to Disney Plus and have Star Wars again and revisit this character and just to kind of go back into the weekly story and new content in that universe.
Right. In Filoni, we trust.
We do. How did you feel?
I still stand by that statement.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I hold on to. So, like you said, I was very excited going into it. I like Boba Fett. I like the iconography. I like the symbol that Boba Fett is in the Star Wars world.
Yeah.
Watching this first episode, I have to just let the story unfold. Because if I judge this episode, truly, it falls a little below expectation for me. I don't understand some of the storytelling around it, and I worry about some of the quality of the casting.
Yeah. Or
maybe just the quality of the directing. It felt like this is. I think this sounds harsher than I really mean it to, but this is the best way for me to picture it. It seems the most like a made-for-TV Star Wars show that we've seen so far.
Yeah. I mean, we've only got The Mandalorian to compare that to, right?
Well, yeah, but we have Rebels and Clone Wars, and
sure,
those are animated, but those still seemed better than this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of where I am right now, but I know that when I watched the beginning couple episodes of Mandalorian, I kind of felt like this is a little slow.
Yeah.
And it paid off in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the ideas I'm seeing. I'm liking the world. I like being back in familiar places and familiar things we're seeing, and it was really nice to be back there. But I don't see the Boba Fett that I thought I was going to see.
Okay.
And that worries me a little bit. So I just have to trust in the storyteller because so far these storytellers haven't let me down yet.
Yeah. I think the first thing I do whenever it comes to Star Wars shows and even Marvel is I look at the runtime.
Yeah.
And then in my mind, I'm like, how much of this is wasted and how much of this is like just really action-packed,
sure,
good, quality. And I see things that it's like 35 minutes. I'm like, oh, is that all that the story that we're getting, or is that all that we need?
Right.
Or is it like there's a lot to wrap your head around? I mean, season 2 final episode of Mandalorian, they're some of my favorite content in the full year, maybe over the last couple of years.
Maybe in Star Wars in general.
All takes place in a 4-minute window.
I know.
So I look at that and I'm like, oh, no, it's only 35 minutes and I'm ready to, let's go. Let's give me 45. Give me 50. That doesn't necessarily mean they're giving me more because they're giving me more time. But I see that. And as I'm watching the show and this one, I'm like, let's go. Let's get somewhere,
Right.
But I think it was me bringing some of that to the table, me being so excited to do that, and me seeing, what can happen with good storytelling. But to realize this is a different property, so it has to move at its own storytelling pace.
Right.
Yeah. For me, my only major gripe is one of the beasts, character, alien things that we see.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel consistent with the planet location that we've seen in the past. And it doesn't quite feel consistent with other creatures.
Yeah.
The closest things it might be related to would be like some of the creatures on Geonosis and episode 2, where you see these things that are just almost like insect-like, or Clash of the Titans, like just weird things. Those feel like Star Wars now. When you first see it, you're just like, this is weird. I don't know how that'll grow on me with this one.
Sure.
I felt like we've kind of explored Tatooine enough that we kind of got a sense for what the life was like on that planet.
Yeah, we kind of know maybe what are the potential dangers.
Yeah. And this one was just kind of like, oh, wait,
we've never seen this before.
Yeah. So
why haven't we seen this before?
Yeah, so for me it was just kind of like, and now normally every time a new episode would show up, I watch it twice. Once first thing in the morning with coffee with my wife, and then later I'll revisit, often that same day or a day later. I haven't watched this one again. And again, I chalked that up to probably just being sick. I had somebody in my house for the week and like some other factors.
Right.
I might feel a whole lot better about this episode on that second watch.
Right. And
I feel like it might feel a whole lot better when you realize the pacing of the story.
Right.
Or is there more at play here than we initially thought?
Right.
And like, what are they trying to tell us? Is it setting the table for things? And, it's conceivably 7 episodes of, 40 minutes or so. You're looking at about a 4-hour story. If you went to a movie and walked out after the first, 20%, 25% of a movie,
you can't really give it a fair.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. So I mean, it's Tuesday, so I'm excited to wake up tomorrow, have coffee, and watch it again.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like I trust the system and the process enough that it's going to be like, all right, now we're cooking.
Right.
Now we're moving along. So, yeah. The only other thing for me, content-wise, is I started and finished Dope Sick. On Hulu.
Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
It's not a show that's going to come back, I don't imagine.
Sure.
It's like a standalone story.
Snapshot in time kind of show.
Great acting, great stories, a lot of things that kind of like weave in and out of it, the different characters. And it kind of slides back and forth in time over about a 6-year window.
Okay. And
you kind of see where things are going, where they are, and then you go back to like, how did we get here, and what are the struggles? But I would definitely recommend that if you're looking for like a nice fact-based drama.
Yeah.
It was good acting. It was good direction. It doesn't feel like, sometimes things are made for TV.
Right.
This doesn't feel like it's made for Hulu. It just feels it's good.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then for me, excuse me, I'm through 7 episodes, I believe, now of Station 11.
Ooh, yeah.
Every episode is completely different. I'm still tuned in because I don't know where they're going. And I'm still sitting on the book to listen to. And it's a 10-hour book, so I don't want to start listening to it and get beyond where I'm at.
Sure. I
don't want to kind of color what I think is going to happen.
Right.
I'm really interested in where things go.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of it?
I haven't yet. It's one of those that I feel like once I start it, I'm gonna want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
So at this point, since I waited a little bit, I think I'm gonna wait till it's done so I can just ingest it all at one time.
So they're doing they did 3, and then they're dropping 2 per week, and then they're gonna do the 10th.
Right.
So on Thursday they'll add another 2 episodes. It's really interesting. I don't know where it goes story-wise.
Yeah. I
don't know what the resolution is. I don't know which characters we resolve the story with. I don't know if any one or multiples become protagonists or antagonists to other. Like, there's just different things happening.
Right.
But it also, again, I mentioned it before, kind of get this like Cloud Atlas vibe of like, something is in the universe happening, or a theme is being repeated over time. I'm very curious, and I have seen reviews where people had a chance to see all of it, and they say that it kind of lags in the middle episodes and then really gets going at the end. I would be curious to have a conversation with you once you start watching it.
Yeah.
Whether I'm finished or not.
Sure.
Just to kind of see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Station 11.
Okay.
On HBO Max.
Yeah.
Or HBO.
Yeah.
What about you? Any other?
No, man. So I jumped into season 4 of Cobra Kai. I didn't even know it was coming out. It kind of just like was out of the blue. like, oh wait, this is on. It's one of those shows that like it's not great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it was a fun idea for season 1,
Mhm.
and then it got really popular, and now they're keeping it going, and now at season 4 it's just like we're still back to this. Like you're still deciding things based on this assumption, and you're like
Yeah.
some of the characters really haven't grown as much as like is believable. Like really, dude, you're still like this kind of guy.
I haven't watched anything beyond the first season.
Uh-huh.
I watched them all on YouTube, and I thought this is really cool to go back to this
Right.
world and flip the perspective. The narrative is now he's not quite the nice guy.
Right.
He's, this guy, they had it all wrong about him. And
Right.
I've seen trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them of season 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I know what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Does one of the people you're referring to have longer hair?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I see the commercial, and I'm like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, let's go back. Let's add that character back into the mix. But then you look at it and go, has this character not grown as a person?
Actually, that character, so I was talking about somebody else.
Okay.
But that character is actually the best part right now for me. I don't know if I'm like episode 5 or 6 or something.
Okay.
And I'm like, and that character's motivations and what that character is trying to do is like, oh, this actually, okay.
Oh,
I want to see this. I want to see this play out now.
Then I got a weird read off the trailer.
Well, so if it was going by, the tropes or kind of what you think would happen, it would be like, oh, okay, cool. Let's bring another person back.
Yeah.
But that character's motivations are interesting. It's interesting to see, is this going to play out, or is this going to be just more of the same?
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm in for it. Like it's always fun to be in Karate Kid world.
Yeah.
I watched those original movies so many times growing up. That it's cool, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's knowing the difference between a steak and bacon.
Yeah,
it's okay to have once in a while and nibble on.
They throw in, love stories and kid actors as good as they are.
I see things in the trailers and I'm like, oh, they've Netflix teened this.
It's some of it's real cheesy.
Yeah,
real cheesy, and it's kind of foreshadowed writing half of it, and you're like, I know where this is going. We're gonna take a whole episode to get to here. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fun. I mean, if you liked any of the other seasons, you'll like this one. It's more of the same. But yeah, so I'm watching that. I'm watching it more just because I've watched all the other ones, so why not?
And we've had that discussion
of
movies of I've started this.
Yeah.
I need to finish this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need character resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether or not you actually get it is to be determined. But
the only other thing I was going to ask you is Wheel of Time still on, or has it?
It's ended.
Okay.
It was fine. It ended fine. It's a departure from the books.
Yeah.
But I was just reading an article today. It's getting really good feedback.
I know.
And
I saw a poll that was published, like Reddit's TV subreddit, like favorite shows. It was like in the top 5 of fans, like new shows.
It's getting way better reviews than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Based on just what I saw. And maybe that was clouded a little bit by the books because I'm reading through the books and
and you were doing it like under the wire, like trying to like get in there as much as you could.
So the first season of the show, basically what they said, it takes from the first 2 books and some of the third. And so I wanted to get through the first 2 books for sure. And so I did. And now I'm on book 5. But it's the story they told is the way they said it that I read today is it's a good adaptation. It's not a telling of the story you read.
Yeah.
It's a adaptation of the story. There are some things that you see in this first season that you don't find out about until way later in the book series, I guess.
Okay.
And they put it in, a lot. I think if you go into watching it to be entertained as a story and just to hear a story without comparing it to the books, I think you'll probably do yourself a better service.
Okay.
Because it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's, there's some iffy casting. There's some weird kind of, borders on that like teen-ish kind of thing. But it's a story about 3 teenagers.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's pretty good.
Now, was that originally written as like a young adult series?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it was like,
not in the sense of like Hunger Games has that audience, Twilight has that the audience.
No, it's just it was basically just a fantasy story.
World.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they're supposedly trying to do 8 seasons, I think is what they think the show will run, and that's encompassing 15 books of content. One character has already been recast for 2nd season. An actor had to step out, and so they've recast that actor.
Interesting.
And some of the decisions that were made in the first season were because of that in the story.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see how that worked.
Do they
or what
course correct back a little bit with story?
I'm interested. I still like it. I love that world so far of what I'm reading, and watching the show felt like I was still in that world. Is just a different lens of the story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any other notes here.
No, man, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for listening to or watching the Android Guys podcast, or hanging with the guys.
Yeah.
If you have any questions or comments, feedback, contact us at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. If you want to reach me directly, you can do so, Scott. You can do S Webster on 77 on Twitter, or Scott Webster on Instagram. And you are?
I am Luke, and that's Luke Gaul, Gaul, on Twitter and Instagram. Same thing.
All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back again here shortly with another standalone episode for coverage of Best of CES. So look for that.
Thanks.
Thank you.